As I shared in one of my earlier videos that I started my first job after my MBA at a much lesser salary than what I was getting after my BTech in a placement. So that's not only me, many people has this reality. They have to face this reality that the market after MBA just does not justify the cost, the time, the efforts that one put into doing a full-time MBA or PGDM. So in today's video, I'll let you know what exactly I did, the steps and the mindset to grow at an exponential speed. And if that is something that you want to apply in your career journey, then make sure you have your notepads and a pen ready to take notes. So with that, let's get started. Before we jump onto the video, I wanted to share that you can now enroll in my HR courses. A lot of students who have taken it are sharing their experiences on the LinkedIn and they are loving it. So if you want to learn real practical HR, the day-to-day activities of HR from me, then you can check out the course. Link is in the description box and the comment section. The first thing that helped me a lot is a very special negotiation strategy that I applied in the beginning. Within 2 months of my job search, I realized that these companies are not going to give me what I expect as a salary. Most of these companies had very lower salary bracket for MBA freshers. And no matter how hard I tried to convince them that I have all the skills that are required for this job and I'm a perfect fit, so I must get at least a respectable beginning salary, nothing was working out. So what I did was, instead of negotiating the starting salary, the offer salary, I negotiated on the job increments. For example, if company was offering me, let's say 20,000, but I was expecting 30,000 in hand salary. So what I did was I told them that, if I perform really good at this job, then within 3 months, my salary must be incremented to 25K in hand per month. And then after 6 months, it must be incremented to 30,000 per month in hand. Now, obviously, it wasn't easy. Not every company was okay with this kind of negotiation. But after so many interviews and rejections, I finally landed a job which agreed, and they exactly gave me 2 salary increments within 9 months of joining. So a lesson to learn from this point is that you have to create your own path. Do not just rely what is already been executed or known to people. Be creative when it comes to negotiation. If you do not try, the answer is no. You'll never get to know what was possible. So when I started negotiating with this approach, obviously I got expressions and faces which were like, what are you talking about? This doesn't work. But I didn't stop there. I made sure that every single interview which I went to, I approached them with this negotiation. And yes, you'll face a lot of rejections and some people might laugh at your face, but you must know what you are doing and why you are doing. You should be just focused on that. Do not worry about what ifs and what people think. Next thing that helped me a lot is choosing the right companies. As I was a tech graduate, I somehow always knew that the product companies are so much better than services company. Getting into product companies will give me much more valuable experience than getting into services companies. So I didn't even try for services companies, brands like Infi, Wipro, Accenture, all of that. Even if there was a position available, I never applied for those because I knew the kind of growth that I wanted is not possible in these companies. The kind of negotiation approach that I was taking, it would not work in bigger companies because bigger companies are very strict with their guidelines, with their policies. If they have a salary benchmarking or if they have assigned a budget to any job profile, they'll not deviate from them, and they have big pipelines of candidates applying to them. So why would they deviate from their salary bracket just for another fresher? So I was very clear on that. So I targeted smaller product companies so that I could execute my negotiation approach, and it's much easier with smaller companies because their policies, their frameworks are very flexible. They are still in making, so you can play with them a little bit. Though it was painful initially, whenever I told my parents about the company I'm working in or whenever I switched, it was so difficult to make them understand what the company name is because for them, the IT companies only mean HCL, TCS, Infi, Wipro, all of that stuff. And if you're not working in them, it's as good as not working at all. But I was very focused. I always knew what I was doing and why I was doing, and I didn't get distracted. Even when people gave me expressions of disgust that, she must not be able to get through these companies, that's why she's working in some unknown companies and all of that stuff. And I'm so grateful and glad that I didn't get distracted because now when I look back, the people who were with me and who joined these companies, they grew at a rate of 5%, 7%, 10% if somebody is really a rock star, because they were in these companies, and that's how these companies give you in terms of hike and all. And I grew in those smaller product companies at a rate of 30%, 40% within the same company, and I was able to surpass most of them in a very small amount of time. So that happens only when you choose companies mindfully, companies which fit in your requirement and what you actually desire to work on, and you don't necessarily take decision basis on how it will look on the outside, what will people say, let me choose this fancy brand just because more people are familiar with this brand name, so I'll be able to tell everybody happily that I'm working in so and so company, and disregarding the fact on what kind of profile you're going, what kind of growth that company will give you. So do not get caught up into all of that. Choose companies basis your requirement, what fits in your plan. Do not worry about how well known the brand is and all of that stuff. And the next point that helped me to scale in my career is my unwavering faith on my own abilities. So I had to take a maternity break in my career, and usually people take it when the baby arrives. But in my case, I had to take that break very early on because of my bad health, and that break got extended up till 2 years. And when finally I started applying back and looking for the job, surprisingly, I was getting job offers, but most of them were offering me much lower than what I was earning in my last job, and that was really surprising to me. I don't know when will this stop, but it was really heartbreaking to see all the judgments around that break. So in that moment, I said a straight no to all the offers which were coming my way just because of the salary point of view. And at that point, to whomever I spoke, like my well-wishers, family, friends and all, most of them were like, it's okay, you take that offer, at least the company is good, or at least the job profile is good, or at least the location is good, or at least you'll get a comeback, you'll be able to start your journey, and you can maybe scale up later. So I just pretended deaf to all of those advices and suggestions because I knew what I deserve, and I never let those rejections define my abilities. I knew what I could bring to the table and why I am expecting the money that I'm expecting. I certainly wanted 30% hike on my last drawn, or maybe more. The more the merrier. And after a lot of interviews, a lot of rejections, I finally landed in a job which paid me much more than my expectations and a great profile as well. So that only happens when you do not give up on the faith that you have on your own abilities. I never criticized myself, my decision of the break, or my abilities just because of those rejections, the number of rejections I faced. Now, because of this YouTube, I get a lot of messages where people say, oh ma'am, I got rejected 3 times in a row in the final round of interview when I was just about to get the offer, and I feel devastated, I feel depressed, I feel it's the end of life. Guys, I just want to tell you that hang in there. You cannot afford to feel devastated and depressed just because of 3 rejections. You just cannot. That's not a winner mindset. You cannot lose that faith on your abilities. You cannot let those rejections define your worth, or define the quality of your life, or define your mental health. Yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, you'll face many more rejections, but your job is to continue searching. Your job is to continue looking for what you feel is the best, and I am sure sooner or later you'll find something that suits you even better. The next thing that helped me a lot is that in my career, I always tried to get out of my comfort zone and pick job profile and projects that were very different from generic ones. When my peers and my colleagues were happy doing their a normal HR operational job, I made sure that I dipped my toes into every different kind of HR role. I made sure that I learn every single HR skill which is associated with the job role or job profile of HR. I even did the jobs on contract just because they were giving me exposure to the skill that I wanted or the project that I wanted. Normally people get scared on working on contract, and normally it's not very advisable thing to do, but you have to pick really carefully that what you are eventually getting from that job. That is very important. I even did projects related to merger and acquisitions, which normally nobody likes to do because they are that intensive and difficult. You have to be on your toes all the time. I did work in compliance, all of that stuff. So usually things from which people shy away or they do not want to get into because it's too complex, too difficult, too messy. I always try to dip my toes into all of that. There shouldn't be anything I do not know about HR, be it any profile into HR. So that was my approach. And this approach gave me so much confidence, so much skills that today, if required, I can pull off HR department of any company from scratch. I have that much faith in my abilities, and I'm able to run this YouTube channel only because I've learned my HR skills so well. I'm able to teach people HR because I've learned my HR skills so well in my journey. So the lesson for you is, no matter in which field you are, do not work for the company, work for yourself, work towards developing your skills so that even if you leave that job, those skills are with you. You are able to then monetize those skills in somewhere else. If company is not giving you the job, no problem. If you have the skills, then you will be able to monetize those skills some way or other. In today's time, it's very easy to do, provided you have the skills. And the final thing that helped me get where I am today is on the job negotiation. Now, when you're switching your job and when you're negotiating there, that's a very different thing than negotiating in the same job when you're working in the job. So wherever I worked, I never assumed that my manager would by default give me this much hike or the promotion that I expect. Never. I was never quiet when I was required to speak. I made sure that I set my expectations right, and even after setting the expectation, if for some reason I didn't get the hike that I thought I deserved, I fought for it. I fought for it with the evidence of my performance, the proofs that would go into proving my worth. I did all of that. And honestly, not all the times I got what I was expecting, but most of the times I got what I was expecting. So it's very important for you to speak up, because if you do not do that and you rely solely on your manager, that your manager will recognize your efforts and your performance and will give you that promotion or that salary hike by default, that's not going to happen. Chances are very slim for that to happen. So make sure that you speak to your manager, be vocal about your expectations. First, you do your work with 100% dedication, and second, you demand for that hike or promotion that you think you deserve with 100% dedication. Otherwise, you'll keep trading your time, God knows for how long, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and still you'll not be able to get to the financial stability that you're looking for. So guys, these were the things that helped me a lot in my career to grow at a speed which feels good to me. I really hope this content helps you somewhere in your career. And with that, I'm signing off. You keep on watching more content on the HR destination to be a successful HR, and I will see you in my next one. Till then, stay safe and healthy. Take care. Bye.